Good morning, class. Good morning, class. Today, we are going to be listening to the story Bigfoot Cinderella. And I'm going to pause it to ask you some questions about the story. And I want you to turn and talk to your partner about what you think. We're going to be focusing on describing the character and making some predictions in the story while we listen.
Oh, not another one of your Cinderella stories. Oh, well, that's different. I thought you might be intrigued by Bigfoot Cinderella. Well, maybe just a little bit. I'll stick around while you read. Please, start now. Oh, all right, well, if Maleficent says start now, we must start right now. Oh, for the California grizzly, now extinct, and all those who protect the old-growth forest. And this one here, JW, that's the illustrator, dedicated to their lovely new daughter. Okay, here we go. Once upon a time, don't you just love when stories start that way? Once upon a time, in the old-growth forest, a band of Bigfoots lived. An enormous snag towered above the other trees close to their camp. Inside its hollow halls of bark lived a dashing Bigfoot prince. Oh, he was tall and dark as a Douglas fir, with feet like cedar stumps. He was as odoriferous as his tree home was coniferous, and so horrendously hairy that Bigfoot women near and far longed to marry him. That's right.
All right, class, let's describe Bigfoot. Now, obviously, we know he has really big feet. What are some of the other adjectives that the story uses? Let's look at our story in the pages to describe Bigfoot. Take a moment and talk to your partner. All right, class, let's continue.
These are the attributes of a handsome Bigfoot. Ginormous feet, ginormous smell. Whenever they saw him lurching along, they blocked his path like deadfalls. They draped wild flowers around themselves. They batted their matted eyelashes to stun him into love. But the prince loved nature best. No pink flowers, he bellowed at them in a voice as rough as bark. In this place, there lived a Bigfoot woman and her 3 daughters. Well, really, there were only 2 that were hers. The third was a stepchild. The daughters were puny things with dinky feet, almost furless, as Bigfoots go, and as sour as little green berries. They spent their days bathing and picking their teeth with fish bones and sleeking their fur with pine cones. For fun, they threw rocks at spotted owls. The stepdaughter was just the opposite. Nearly as woolly as a mammoth, golden as a banana slug. Look at that. With feet like log canoes. She loved nature and would do no harm to any creature.
All right, let's look at our story. We're going to describe the stepsisters first. Think about some of the adjectives you saw in the story and tell your partner. I notice when we go back, the stepsisters are not very nice. They're throwing rocks at the owls. I also notice that they're much smaller than their sister. When we look at the Cinderella, the Bigfoot Cinderella, her fur is a beautiful yellow, and it's much thicker, and she's much bigger than her sisters. So she looks very different than her stepsisters. And is she throwing rocks at the owl? No, she would never harm a creature. Let's continue on and learn more about Bigfoot Cinderella.
Interesting. So these are her daughters, and they're kind of skinny and small compared to the big stepdaughter here. Her stepsisters despised her, and they made her work. Although her name was Ella, they roared at her so much that everybody called her Rella. Rella, fix fire! Rella, catch fish! They They forced her to comb her fur and stick wildflowers in it. If she tugged them out, they put back in twice as many. In spite of this primping, Rah was sooty from the fire and stinking with fish. So they teased her like stinging mosquitoes. You beast! They laughed, ha, and held their noses. You positive reek! You absolute freak! Then they bathed her a lot in the creek. Eek! I don't get it. Why they're putting flowers in her? Because I don't understand. One morning, Rella went to the river to get supper. She fished all day and tossed her catch into the bank on a silvery pile. Wow, nice big pile. Suddenly, a grizzly bear appeared. He seemed hungry. Rella was bigger than the bear, so she could have shooed him away, but she was too kind. She let him have the fish. When she shambled home empty-handed, what? She let him have all the fish? Oh, too much generosity. He could have had just some. That was rude. To this guy to come, not do any of the work, and eat all her fish. There's no balance. All right, moving on. When she shambled home empty-handed, her sisters rubbed their bellies and bellowed, food, food, food. They forced her to fish all night. Now, every year, the Bigfoot Prince gave a great fun fest. There were gifts and food and games like Jump the Fire, Bear Cave, Hide and Seek, and Hurl the Hemlock. But log rolling was the favorite. This year, whichever woman rolled the prince off of a log and into the river would become his wife. Oh, what an interesting...
So, how does this story differ from the original Cinderella? So, how is Cinderella in this story supposed to get the prince? That's right. She's got to knock him off a log. What does Cinderella do in the original Cinderella? She has to win his heart by being beautiful and dancing with him. So this story is very different than the original Cinderella. Let's continue listening.
Interesting test that would be. Rella's puny sisters hoped to dunk the prince. Good luck with that. When me snack putrid furball prince, me rule whole tree place, yelled the older one. Me pick all flower, the younger one grinned. Then they bellowed together, power, power, power! So, they smoothed their pitiful fur, then spruced up with wildflowers and wearing fine bark clogs to grip the log, they clomped to the festival. Me go too? Rella hollered after them. She adored to sweat and win at games. I only like the winning at games part myself, not the sweating. Her sisters hooted so hard they fell down. You stay, catch plenty fish, we catch prince.
All right, class, we're going to stop right here. And I'm going to move over here so you can't see. So, what we're going to do for our assignment today is I want you to write how you think the story is going to finish up. So you're going to go back and you're going to make a prediction. A prediction is when you decide what will happen next. What kind of fairy godmother do you think Cinderella is going to have in this version of the story? How do you think she is going to get to go to the games instead of the ball? So I want you to write me a little short story about how you think the story will end tomorrow. So you're going to stop here, get you a piece of paper, and write a story about how you think this story is going to continue. Now, if you're having trouble getting started, maybe you have the idea in your head. Why don't you make a video and send it to me of what you think is going to happen to Bigfoot Cinderella on day 2 of our story. So you can make a video and send it to me, or put it on Facebook with our group, or you can write about it. I can't wait to see your work, and we'll find out what happens to Bigfoot Cinderella tomorrow.